Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
This footage was taken aboard the ISS. The cameraman notices something down here in the corner. He starts to pan and zoom in on this object here. They're not sure what they're looking at. It's going about the same speed as the ISS. It's about the size of a bus, and they captured on camera for about 22 minutes. But what's interesting is what it does at the end. Right here, you'll see they're attempting to follow it, but it starts going up and out of the view of the camera.
It's aliens. The aliens are here. They're here. Finally. Let's get this show on the road. It's probably just space debris. I'm sure it's been explained. Somebody's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's just not being, put into the video because it's not fun if the facts are brought forth. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by today. If you're having a good time, won't you hit that like button for me? It'll really help out my channel and I'd greatly appreciate it. If this is your kind of content, we've got a subscribe button. You can hit that and come back tomorrow because I'm making a new episode every day.
I want to make people sick. And what I do here is the virus is not necessarily the bug. The virus is what I put over the internet. Let me show you how I can crash a system pretty easily. I affect key individuals here, here, and here. And then I take another community in the back of the room. I affect key individuals there. And then I take another community. I affect key individuals there. And then I do what every good attributional group does. I beat my chest and take credit for it. And what I put out over the internet is, this is a virus, a bacteria, an agent that I have infiltrated into your fill in the blank. I say it's a weapon of mass destruction. And what I tell you it's going to do is it's going to produce paranoia, anxiety, and sleeplessness. What I've just done is I've recruited every paranoid hypochondriac to think that they have whatever that is. I've used salient and sentinel cases, and I create essentially a legion of what's known as the worried well. They now flood emergency rooms. They flood their clinicians.
Just goes to show that psychological warfare is very much alive and doing very well. They don't actually need physically harming weapons, right? All they need is plant that seed in your brain. Just a little one, and watch it grow.
Then we have the well-known Evans from Zeta Reticuli, who shared a common ancestor with the Greys a long time ago and who have recently ended their war with the main Grey Master line. In fact, there seem to be many Grey races from the Reticulum constellation.
As much as I love aliens, I'm going to do a little bit of facting real quick, and I'll try to keep this as concise as possible, but you know me. One of two things would have had to happen. Either the easy one is they migrated from one planet to another, but you have to consider how freaking far away that constellation is and how far each of those stars truly are from each other. So the distance that would have had to been traveled is just insane, and then they evolved differently and turned into different looking beings, right? Or the other option, which is more impossible, is that those stars out there, they have planets, right? And in each one of those, there is a planet that is exactly the same. Not exactly, but almost exactly the same as the other ones, right? So they're all like exact. They have to have the same density, the same rotation. They have to have the same elements, the same atmosphere, all of that. In order for beings to grow and evolve to look almost exactly the same, but be from different star systems in that particular constellation. Okay, so yeah, one of those things happened. I went too far with that.
The beings, they're called Ebens, extraterrestrial biological entities. So the Eben was there, and it had this little kind of black rectangular box, and it was used so that they didn't have to speak verbally like we are. It was kind of telepathic, but augmented with this technology. And it went back and forth that way. Now the human was just receiving it, but very clear. And then this Eben was receiving it probably innately, but assisted. So I call this consciousness-assisted technology, CAT. And then the reverse, technology-assisted consciousness, where the technology can help project your remote viewing capability. It goes both ways.
Sometimes when I listen to that guy, there's a little part of my brain that goes, you know, that he is just full of crap, right? And then the fun part of my brain comes in and beats up that little part of the brain and says, hey, stop ruining the fun.
Someone actually got pictures from inside Antarctica. It's like we're looking at some kind of underground tunnel. Another underground base. What it looks like. An entrance for aircraft and vehicles. Monoliths. Possibly a UFO. That's what it looks like. Another underground tunnel. An entrance to another tunnel. Possibly a UFO or some kind of dome. Ancient structures is what I would have to guess. Another monolith. That I'm not sure. More ancient structures. The question is, were there people in Antarctica before we got there?
Some of those pictures were kind of like, meh, yeah, no big deal. Yeah, there's tunnels there. Yeah, there's a presence there. There's scientists there and everything. So yeah, there's probably some of those. But then he asks the magic question at the end. Were there people in Antarctica before we got there? Now, I've said this a whole bunch of times about the shift, right? Go to the Y-Files, that page, the Y-Files. I'm going to do a shameless plug, even though it's not shameless plug day, okay? The Y-Files. Love it. Absolutely. AJ and Hecklefish are amazing. Go to that channel, the Y-Files, and look for the episode. It's like the CIA knows about the end of the world, something like that. Watch it. It's amazing. So if you watch that, he talks about how the crust of the earth is going to like spin, right? And it's going to rotate and the poles shift and all kinds of crazy stuff happen. And then the poles will be like this. So at one time, the poles that are like this now at the top and the bottom of the planet will eventually be like this. And they were like this at one point. So yes, there is a possibility that people could have lived on there at previous advanced civilizations, which you know I am totally obsessed with, may have been there because they did exist. And things were different. So go watch that channel. Shameless plug over here. I'll put it right here just because that's what I do.
Every American social security number might have just been leaked. At least that's what some people are saying. The reality is a bit more complex. Here's what's going on and how to protect yourself. In April, a group got into something called National Public Data. They're a company that's supposed to provide a whole bunch of data for a lot of different things, including fraud prevention, which dropped the ball there, didn't we? The group took around 277 gigs of data, or 2.7 billion records, and a lawsuit that is now against this company is saying that it could have leaked over 3 billion people's data, which, no, that's not how that works at all. There's only 330 million Americans, and there's no way this company had over a third of Earth's data. Also, the question is, how much of this information was already out there? Apparently 134 million emails were leaked, but 87% of them were already found on Have I Been Pwned, which is a great resource to figure out if your information is out there. Also, super importantly, is this information even accurate? A lot of people have gone through what's been released and been like, wait, that's me, and that's wrong. So that's a good sign. Now, granted, if even a small percentage of this information is correct, that could put millions at risk for identity theft. This is just the beginning, because what happens next is the social engineering side of it. Companies and people are going to be targeted. You might get calls with really detailed information about yourself. Do not believe anybody. Companies are going to be at a huge risk, including banks. People are going to be calling with accurate information to set up new accounts and then fuse it with the old accounts, and that's how they might get access to your bank accounts. Check your credit, make sure it's all good, and remember you can freeze that for free with any of the big three. Also, if you have an opt-out service or a group that pulls your data down from the internet, it seems like your information wasn't there, so you're good. Please also have multi-factor authentication on it. We don't know how bad this is yet, but it might not be as bad as people are making out to be, but only time will tell.
I'm glad that he clarified the 2.7 billion issue, because people are like, oh, 2.7 billion Americans had their social security number. No, they did not, because there's not 2.7 billion Americans, but it's that many pieces of information. So it may be your name and a social security number and an address and this and that and the other thing and your credit report, and there, right there, can be like up to 50 different things, right? So that's 50 pieces of information on one person. That kind of reduces the number of actual people that may be affected, but that's still in the hundreds of millions, and that would cover, all of the United States. There's some things you can do to make sure, you're safeguarded one way or another, right? Just keep an eye on your stuff.
The story NASA doesn't want the public to know. The deaths of these 7 crew members of the Space Shuttle Challenger was no accident. Engineers voiced their concerns for years about the rubber seals called O-rings in the solid rocket boosters. In one of the previous launches, they noticed the O-rings become compromised in cold temperatures. Only 9 of about 20 previous launches had went ahead on time as scheduled. Congress was beginning to realize the shuttle program wasn't as reliable and cost-effective as they were led to believe. The only reason NASA wanted to send a teacher into space was because they were losing public interest in the shuttle program. This mixture of NASA's impatience on a cold launch day, wanting to please Congress, and help their public reputation led to cold-blooded murder, in my opinion.
They will never take responsibility for anything, no matter how the evidence points at them.
Is there something about the Earth that NASA is not telling us? Just so we all know, the translation of NASA in Hebrew is to deceive. The father of NASA is Wernher von Braun, a Nazi Germany scientist. And when he died, on his gravestone, he put Psalms 19:1, which is where it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament sheweth his work." The biblical firmament is a dome created by God, separating the waters from the waters and where heaven lies, which is the same story we hear in multiple religions, including ancient Egypt. Here's a NASA document where they explain that the Earth and the planets are mathematically drawn pictures. Then you have weird stuff like the Antarctic Treaty, which doesn't allow people to travel to Antarctica. The United Nations logo, which is literally a flat Earth map. Then we have the Vatican, and the Bible clearly states not to engage in astrology. Instead, they buy the world's most powerful microscope and they name it Lucifer.
I don't know why I didn't expect that to go all flat Earth on us. Obviously it was, because NASA's hiding something, right? It says at the very beginning, and what does NASA do? Stuff in the space. And if there's no space, then that's something that NASA would be hiding. I saw a document that says they supposedly found the dome, and I'm surprised that wasn't in there now that I'm thinking about it. Like, they found where it ends. But I guess with the ex-director of NASA putting that on his tombstone, he's kind of like, hey, guess what?
Newly declassified UFO report reveals dematerialization and UAP injuries, Washington, D.C. The Department of Defense just declassified a new UFO report about Kona Blue, a proposed Department of Homeland Security DHS program that would have given congressional oversight to alleged secret UFO recovery and reverse engineering programs. The proposal was ultimately denied, but reading it provides an intriguing look at the secret UAP knowledge that many believe the US government had. The report references areas of high anomalous activity, UFO injuries, dematerialization, and remote viewing. The beliefs of the Kona Blue proponents mirror some of the allegations of UFO whistleblower David Grush. Grush came forward with information from more than 40 first-hand witnesses, alleging the US does indeed have a secret UAP, reverse engineering and retrieval program. The Intelligence Community Inspector General, ICIG, found his claims credible and urgent, and when the ICIG later presented information about these claims to some members of Congress in a classified setting, RIP. Jared Moskowitz tweeted, "Based on what we heard, many of Grush's claims have merit. Although the AARO historical report attempted to debunk the idea of a secret UAP program, many experts still have questions about the legitimacy and breadth of the report. For example, although former AARO Director Sean Kirkpatrick said there were no first-hand witnesses, Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, said he was shocked by that claim, noting that he himself had brought some first-hand witnesses to AARO and SEN. Marco Rubio has also stated that he's spoken to first-hand witnesses himself."
If we can just kind of forget the part where they said that the validity of this report is under question and dive right into this whole Kona Blue thing, why would there be a proposal for some program unless these individuals proposing this program knew that there was stuff that could be recovered and reverse engineered? Like, if there's no stuff, there's no proposal for this program, right? Now let's return to the questioning of the validity of this report. There's so many things. It's a real Princess Bride moment, right? So are they questioning it because it isn't real, or are they questioning it because they want you to think that it isn't real, but do they know that you think it wouldn't be real, so therefore they're questioning it so that because they know it isn't real? it does tend to get a little inconceivable.
You take a cloud that Mother Nature or God has provided and you alter that cloud. Well, the reason the cloud doesn't expand on its own in most cases is the fact that there's a lot of moisture, but there's no nuclei. There's nothing for the moisture to stick to. So when you provide the silver iodide nuclei, it causes the water to coalesce to that nuclei, and when it does, it releases heat, which means everything starts to rise. If you produce enough nuclei at the right places in a cloud, there's essentially no limit to how fast and how far it'll grow.
I truly believe that if we continue altering the weather the way that we have, there's going to be a problem, because we're creating weather where there isn't supposed to be any, or rain where it wasn't supposed to rain. So areas that are supposed to get water do not, or areas that are not supposed to get water do. And then it's going to upset this balance that is going on in our atmosphere and the currents, right? All of that stuff, the lows and the highs and everything is going to get all out of whack, and who knows what could happen.
So hang on a second. So almost every American Social Security number was just leaked in a massive data breach, hack, whatever it is. But we can't have TikTok because, data. You are the same cunts that want to get rid of this app that we're all just goofing off and having a good time, that we agreed, we all understand our data crap is happening. What are you going to do? Every time you sign up for something, data, fucking whatever. We're having a good time. The one piece of information that it's been drilled into our skulls since we were little bitty. Do not give up this piece of information under any circumstances, unless you're doing something massive like buying a house or something with the government, getting a passport, I don't know. And don't think for a minute that people, that have even a little bit of a conspiracy brain aren't noticing what's going on. We're like, wait a minute. So you're making us all, you wreck the economy. We're all poor. We're all out of work. We're all having a hard time just making basic ends meet. We're losing our damn minds. We're too stressed out and depressed and anxious to even organize and do something about you assholes. Then you devalue our currency. You raise the rates. Inflation's out of control. Our credit scores are in the pot. Now our Social Security number that ties into all of those things is just out there in the world. How long until one by one, we get cleaned out from another end and offer us, 2 free months of identity monitoring on Credit Karma or whatever the hell you're going to do? Is this all just the setup? Is this the final string of dominoes that you're going to knock down to roll out your CBDC, your central bank digital currency? Are you going to buy us out of our desperation with the new thing? Because if so, well played. Brilliant. I give up. I'll take it. But buy out the credit card debt. Give me a reset. Let's party. Put me in the pod. Feed me the bugs. I'm over.
Oh man, I had the story that I was going to tell you about, like how it's all a distraction and the smoke screen and the election and all that stuff. And he's right. I'm freaking done. I'm ready too. Let's freaking wipe it all out. Start it all over. Just be. I want to just be. I want to have what I need, not the things that I want. And just freaking live. That'd be awesome. Let's do that. I mean, I guess I'll have to eat bugs.
Hey man, you find anything yet? I found this guy. He has a $15 Starbucks gift card, but only $3 on it. We can use that.
Nah, bro, we boycotting.
You're right. My bad. I forgot about that.
It's cool, you're good.
Oh, we got this guy. Negative $200,000. Oh my God, because he spent it on... Oh, he went to Harvard for computer science.
Oh, damn, he must have a good job then. What does he do?
No, currently unemployed.
Ah.
Well, that is...
Very unfortunate.
Yikes. I'm going to be honest, dude. I think this might have been a waste of time. I think pickpocketing would have been much more productive.
Yeah, that's actually probably pretty accurate. I just saw something recently that said like 75 to 80% of Americans are actually in debt. So yeah, have at it. I also saw a few videos where people are like, yeah, go ahead and try and open a credit card with my social security number. See how far that'll get you because of that simple fact. So, but it is a serious situation, and I'm going to keep bringing you updates as they come along, and we'll see how it goes. On that note, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.